So front end wise, I'm just using a CSS library called or framework called Tachyons, which was a precursor or was the first, what's it called? It's like Tailwind, but it came before Tailwind, and I think it's what inspired Tailwind. But the reason I went with Tachyons is because it just doesn't have a build step compared to Tailwind. So I thought it was like just a simpler way of having a framework like Tachyons. What's it called? There's a word for it. Like we just, I don't know, but it's just like a sort of class-based way of writing CSS, and it helps keep everything consistent. And so when you're writing, adding a new section like this, you just create the div or whatever, or the block quote, and then you add in the individual classes. And I just find that like a really, really fast way to make a web page. So every time I start a new page and I want to add like a new component or a new section, I don't have to worry about writing the CSS for it and having it being consistent with all the other, pages. I can just literally just use reuse classes to build, the new components, and it just feels really, really fast way to develop, and gives you a lot of freedom and flexibility without the stress of having to flick between HTML and CSS. You just do it all in HTML. So I find that like a really fast way to develop. So I'm really glad I used that. This is just for me on localhost. Apart from that, everything else is just sort of simple HTML and CSS. I try to avoid JavaScript as much as possible, mainly because I'm not very good at it, and I find it easier not to use it where I can. So these drop-down boxes, they just use CSS.
Wow. Okay.
I think that was probably JavaScript, yeah. But yeah, so if I can use CSS, I will. That's my first choice because I just find it a lot faster. But where I can't use CSS, where it has to be more dynamic, I'll use for basically JavaScript stuff, like more dynamic stuff. I'll try and use a library where I can, and the main one I'm using for like pretty much everything is one called htmx, and so that just basically allows you to sort of stick within HTML and then make, what's it called, AJAX requests, like send data out to another PHP file, and then it generates the HTML and then sends it back. So all the tools are using htmx, like basically like AJAX. That was called AJAX requests.
Ajax.
So
Yeah.
that's AJAX, yeah. So it's not really efficient. Like ideally, this would be in purely JavaScript. It'd be a lot faster and a lot simpler. Well, maybe not simpler, but a lot faster for like these small sort of tools. Because the problem with like using htmx is like when I change this gets sent to the server, and then the server builds this fragment and then sends the whole thing back.
Gotcha.
So it works on my local computer. It's like as fast as JavaScript, but when you're viewing it online, if you're quite far away from the server, and the server's based in, I think it's in New York, you got that that ping sort of time, so it can be a bit sluggish depending on where you are. But if in the US, then it should be pretty quick.